औज़बिल्लाहिमिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। शुरू करती हूँ अल्लाह के नाम से जो बड़ा मेहरबान और निहायत रहम करने वाला। अस्सलाम वालेकुम everyone. It's wonderful to see all these lovely faces on a Sunday morning when most of the women are perhaps sleeping, and this is the beauty that you get as being part of an LMI, because this is your training and it's amazing. You're going to spend a lovely Sunday today with all of us. So let's get on to the topic. Observation and discoveries made by Dr. Maria Montessori. If we had to change the name of the Montessori method, another name for this method would be laws of nature, because Montessori method is a reflection of laws of nature. And you will be thinking, you would be wondering, what is this law of nature? I mean, think for a moment, close your eyes. Everything that exists in this world is governed by laws of nature. Everything that has life, the moon, the stars, the trees, the rain, and if anything goes out of place, it will not have its normal development. So before I actually start giving you the observation and discoveries that was made by Dr. Maria Montessori, I would like you to take a look at the screen, and we're quickly going to glance through the images and then I shall talk about it. Are you ready enough? As that goes on, I shall continue talking. A brief introduction about the lady, Dr. Maria Montessori. We all know that she was a doctor, a scientist. And can anyone think of what is the most important quality of a scientist? Could I get a word from any one of you? What is one of the most important quality of a scientist? Observation. Yes. That's where Maria Montessori had the upper edge. She had this magical gift, the ability to observe. If she didn't have that, today we will not be having the Montessori system. Because in the first school, Casa di Bambini, when she started off, you know what she started off with? Nothing. No system, no method. All she had was a handful of children, and she had this ability to observe, not to interfere. And there she saw some amazing things that even today the world does not believe. That can a child be like that? So let's go through what are some of the observation and discovery Dr. Maria Montessori made in the first Casa di Bambini, and afterwards in all the Montessori schools that was opened afterwards, and her experience of working with children in all over the world between the age 3 to 6, regardless of their religion, culture, background, they all did the same thing. What did they do? The very first observation that she made, today we know as part of the Montessori system, and that is repetition of exercise. Do you know that? Do you as a student know that when we say we are done with the presentation and we say let the child repeat for as long as he liked. How did she discover that? Once in Casa di Bambini, she saw a little girl and she was only 3 years old. Imagine a small girl aged 3, how restless they are. She noticed that this little girl was taking out the cylinder from the cylinder block, if you have seen it, or you will see it, and she kept taking it out, pulling it back, taking it out, pulling it back. And out of habit, because she was a scientist, she decided to observe. And she said, let me see if this girl is just showing off. She told the teacher to just, sing around and clap around the girl. That didn't disturb the child. Then she lifted the chair that the little girl was sitting on. She picked up the girl, and all the girl she did was she clenched down to the cylinder block and continued her activity. From the time Maria Montessori started to count, do you know how many times this little girl, who was only 3 years old, took out and put back the cylinder? 42 times. How many of us will have that much patience to let a child do something so many times? No. That's when we stop the child. So we don't see the result. Afterwards, the girl continued and continued, and suddenly for no reason she stopped. And Maria Montessori describes in her book, The Secret of the Childhood, that when the girl stopped, she was as if she had awoken from a sleep. She was fresh. Her eyes were glowing. What was that? Maria Montessori started thinking, what is it that this makes the child so different from us adults? When we do something, we are tired. And we do something only once. If I want to drink water, I will just pour it once. But this girl kept doing it again and again and again. And Maria Montessori says that for the first time, we got an insight into the psyche of the child. What is actually unfolding in the child's personality. Whatever the child is doing, it is not for an external reason. Kindly remember that we the adult do things for external reason. I drink a glass of water, you can see that. But the child doing an activity again and again and again, it is to build himself. Many other activities reoccurring like that in the first Casa di Bambini. Once she showed the child with a dirty hand, and she decided to give them a lesson as to how to wash their hands. And after that, all the children in the school will wash their hands and wash and wash and wash their hands. How many of you have had small children at home and you see them washing their hands? Anybody has ever experienced that? Right? They just wash and we stop them because they are wasting water. But they are washing because of the internal urge. And from that time on, the activities that is created to do in the environment. So what was the first discovery? Repetition of exercise. Okay, never forget that. Discovery number 2 that was also made in the first Casa di Bambini, free choice. Montessorians speak about give the child the freedom to choose his activity. Remember, in the first Casa di Bambini, there was no Montessori method. Dr. Maria Montessori says, I did not start with a method. I did not sit in an armchair and thought of a method. It was the children who showed me. By observing the children, not interfering, she noticed that in the beginning, each child was given activity. The teacher will collect it from them and drop it back in the cupboard. She heard that and she smiled. And she said, the reason is that the children wanted to know the place for the thing. And the children wanted to go and select their own activity. So from that time onwards, the loft cover was demolished and the introduction of the low shelves that we see in all Montessori, that was introduced. The children were presented all different materials, but they selected only the ones, a certain one. With that, there was the material that she had brought with her, they were modified. She came to the conclusion, children are only attracted to something that is going to appeal to their physical and mental needs. I do not like to play with toys. That's the only thing we can associate. Isn't it so? I mean, all these toys companies will shut down if we said that to the world. But it is true. In the beginning, in first Casa di Bambini, there were many toys that was presented to the poor children by rich ladies. Maria Montessori herself, she used to want to help the children play with the toys. They would play with the toys for a little while. And afterwards, the toys were left in a corner. Have any of you ever experienced that? You may have bought your son a very expensive car or a doll for your daughter. They are so excited about it for a few days and then is it true? Yes. You know why? The toys have no activity for the child. The toys, you just spin something and the monkey begins to beat a drum. Or the car starts to go with a remote control. So the child stands up and is amused. But that amusement is just for a little while. It is like us wanting to play. It is us wanting to play when we have a leisure time. You know, when we play chess, when we want to relax. Otherwise, when we have something more important on our mind, like work. If I have to give this lecture, I'm not going to be playing chess. So too with the child. He only plays with the child when he has nothing better to do. Otherwise, all the time, the children have something more important to do. And do you know what is nature's command? What is the law of nature for the child? What is the work of the child? Can anybody give me? The child has come into this world with a mission, with an assignment. God has sent him to go and build the adult and construct the adult. We are here today thanks to the child, and that is big job. For the child, it is like do or die. He works or he cannot survive. So, can anybody tell me what are some of the observations he has made so far? Repetition of, I will be repeating it. Repetition of exercises. Can I hear it? Repetition of exercises. Free choice. Children do not like toys. And now you have understood why. Another very controversial discovery made by Dr. Mario Montessori, which unfortunately the kindergarten system and the nursery system do not understand, do not appreciate. And that is that reward and punishment has no value in the life of the child. Huh? Reward? Don't you always say that to the child? You finish your homework, we'll go outside, we'll go and play. I'll take you to the park if you do this. There's always a if. If you come first in your examination, we'll buy you a bicycle. All the rewards. Punishment. If you don't finish your homework, you are not allowed to watch TV. I've heard parents say that if you don't finish your homework, you're not getting your dinner. And if you don't finish your homework, I'm going to lock you up in the bedroom or in the bathroom. I know a little girl, her mother used to beat her up, and she will finish her homework in tears. But when that girl went to school, she refused to do her work because she knew that the teacher would not beat her. So how this philosophy came into being about not rewarding and punishing the child. Once again, in the first Casa di Bambini, one day, Dr. Maria Montessori, she walked into the classroom and she saw a little boy sitting in isolation all by himself on a chair. she asked the teacher, why is he sitting away from the rest of the class? So the teacher said very firmly, he is being punished. Punished? Then Dr. Maria Montessori looked at the child and asked, but if he is being punished, why is he wearing a big star pendant that was given to the children as a reward? So the teacher went on to explain that this reward was given to another child for doing good work, and as she was doing the coloring, this pendant was a source of disturbance. So she took it out and she gave it to the child who was being punished. Now if we get an award, will we just take it out and give it to someone else? That goes to explain the value of either reward or punishment in the life of the child. The girl who got the reward, it had no meaning for her, it was disturbing her, so she gave it to the boy. The boy who was being punished, there was no shame on his face, and he was sitting all by himself and his absorbent mind was working and he was taking in all the impression. So, do you understand that? So ladies, the future directresses, please, we cannot have the system until and unless we live up to all these observation and discovery, because this is the Montessori system. Do not give reward and punishment to your children. So if you don't give reward, and the children are always pushing their hand for a star, you give one, then they say, auntie, this one, then they put their cheek, auntie, this one. If we do not give them reward and punishment, what do we do? The word is encouragement, appreciation. So a child who makes a coloring perfect, you say, wow, that looks beautiful. And a child who comes with a little scribble, just like a kira makora, you can't even decipher what it is, you still go and say, wow, this is beautiful. That is encouragement. Because each child has come up with his best work. So is that understood? 4 things so far. Repetition of exercise, free choice, no toys, no value for reward and punishment. Replace it with the word encouragement and appreciation. In fact, that holds possible in the life of we, the adult also. We always like to be encouraged. We always like to appreciate it. Discouragement means going to not take you anywhere. What else did she discover in the first Casa di Bambini? Dignity, self-respect. Small children, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, what kind of respect are you going to give them? They are children. You know, abhi to bachcha hai. Well, an example took place in the school that made Dr. Maria Montessori's heart melt. One day she saw that the children who came to the school, you know, they came from a very poor, illiterate family. They were very dirty. Their nose used to be always running. So she decided to give them a little humorous lesson. She thought the children will find it funny. First she showed them how to fold and take out a handkerchief in many different ways. And then very discreetly, in an elegant way, she took out the handkerchief from her purse and she blew her nose. And when she blew her nose with the handkerchief, she thought the children will find it very funny and they will laugh. But to her surprise, they did not respond. There was just pin drop silence. And after a minute, they all clapped as if there was a, standing ovation for her. And she didn't understand. She was unable to make the connection. Why would the children clap when she showed them how to blow their nose? And as she went home that day, all the children, they hopped out, ran out to the window and waved at her and said, thank you for the lesson. All that day and the days that followed, Maria Montessori kept thinking, what have I done so well, so good, that they were so impressed. And she realized that self-respect and dignity, even in this life of the small children, are very important. The children are always being scolded for having dirty nose. The children are always being like, ashamed, put to a shame, look at your nose, it's running. But no one ever thinks about showing them how to blow their nose. And to top it all, in winter, even in our school, the children come with runny nose and the parent pin up a big handkerchief to add more to their embarrassment. So please, children are human. They are sensitive. They have feeling. That's how God has created them. Let us not think of the child as a small, miniature-sized adult. We are two aliens from two different worlds. We've got to understand the nature of their development. We've got to understand the laws of nature. Another discovery that Dr. Maria Montessori made, the first Casa di Bambini, by observation, and that was their love for silence. Oh no, impossible. You have a room full of 40 children. Do you think you're going to have silence? Will you? You know why? Because we have not discovered the true child. Maria Montessori was on her way to discovering the true child, and she noticed something. One day she had given, I'm pressed for time, so one day she took a little baby who was all wrapped up to the classroom, and she told the children, "Oh, look how silent she is. I don't think you can sit as silently as this little baby." And all the children, they sat up. And then she said, "Oh, look how silently this little baby is breathing. I don't think any one of you could do that." And the children literally stopped breathing. Within a minute, there was absolute silence. All you could hear was the tick-tock of the clock that was always there, but you were never able to hear it. Sound of silence is a very powerful thing. And she realized that this could help to check some defects in the children, like if a child had a hearing problem. One day she decided to call the children's name by whisper. And action was a reaction in the sense when she called their name softly, silently. The children didn't rush to her. They too came quietly out of the door. And then she kept calling again, "Saima, Saima." And Saima did not respond. It was an ideal time for her to realize that Saima was having some hearing defect. So it came as a true discovery that silence gate, that we know as one of the most important parts of the Montessori system, the silence is an inner silence. Children have an inner love for silence. You cannot force silence. You cannot tell the children, "Put your head down and go to sleep," and you think you have a disciplined class. No, you cannot do that. You cannot say, "Zip your mouth." It comes to them naturally. Unfortunately, we are unable to see it because still we are yet to discover the child. We are yet to give them the freedom to repeat. We are yet to give them the freedom to choose. We are yet to appreciate the fact that they prefer work to play. They do not want reward and punishment. 2 more observations left, total 8 major ones that came about in the first school and the school that followed. Discipline. If I personally had to choose one word that is the most important aspect of the Montessori system, if you go to different schools, how would you realize that this is a true Montessori system, even though all may have the material, all may even have a trained directress? An environment where there are about 40 children, believe me, and you look around and you wonder, there are no teachers. And there is an inner discipline that is prevailing. And the children are working with deep and profound concentration, some pouring, some lying on the floor, working with the number rods. No teacher to be found. How is that possible? You look around and you realize she's sitting on a small chair. Doing what? Observation. She's making some observation. The children don't need her. I'll talk about that when I speak about the importance of the directress. So the inner discipline in the classroom, because the children are connected with the material and there is no need for noise, there is no need for disturbance. Each happy and deeply concentrated with what he is doing. Last but not least, one of the observations that was made in the first Casa di Bambini, it is known as explosion into writing. What was that? You know, when the children were doing so well, their parents came to Dr. Maria Montessori and they requested that, ma'am, you're doing so much for our children, kindly show them how to read and write. And Maria Montessori refused. She said, no, that's not part of my program. And it was one fine day, December morning. She was sitting on the terrace with a handful of children, and a child was holding a charcoal in his hand. And just out of fun, Dr. Maria Montessori told the child, draw a chimney. And the child wrote something. He wrote gatto, which means cat. He wrote mano, which means hand. And the child himself was like, he couldn't believe it, and he said, I have written.